Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. I'm Sara Jane, and this is Thoughtful Nuggets and Pearls on Gift of Healing TV. And I am delighted to welcome to the programme again, Heather Prince. Heather, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, it's a real pleasure. And our topic for this, we're going to have a conversation, is self-worth and self-confidence. And it's one that as a guest, I've asked you what you would like to talk about. And so this is what we're going to be talking about this evening. So would you like to start us off a little bit, as it was your choice? Although, yeah, I can so talk about this one.
Yes, it's been quite dominant in the clients that I've been working with, that they've been running what I call a program. I look at each individual as a computer, and we run programs like you would on a computer hard drive, but we unknowingly are running the programs on our subconscious. And one of the programs that kept coming up with nearly every client was unworthiness. And there were a number of reasons why that had been blocked. Their self-worth had been blocked. And I think that they also were a little confused, especially the guys who looked upon their self-worth as to the job title that they had, the car that they drove, and they thought that was their self-worth. But actually, self-worth is a lot deeper, and self-worth is if your job does go, and unfortunately right now many people are finding their path changing as they may be getting made redundant, and they're feeling very fearful and worried about it, but their job title is not their worth. And maybe they had a company car that's now having to go back. That's not their worth. It's who they are as an individual that is so important. And it knocks their confidence. So self-worth, self-confidence are connected. So that's been a lot of the work that I've been sharing right now. So it's such a great opportunity. Thank you, Sarah, to have this platform to share this information with all your viewers.
And the self-worth thing, I so get that. And I've been made redundant 2-3 times, something like that, so yes. I absolutely, I suppose that's the joy of working for yourself, unless you make yourself redundant.
Yeah, and also I find with people that retire, they retire and perhaps they were the bank manager, perhaps they were the financial director. And I've worked with a lot of professional football players who retire, and all of a sudden their structure has gone and their self-worth has gone whoosh, and they've looked to fill the void, and a lot of them have turned to alcohol. And it's getting them to understand how to rebuild, like a jigsaw, their self-worth. And it doesn't matter that they're not playing professional football anymore. They are still worthy of having everything that we all wish for in life, which is great health and happiness. And some people say, what's the link between happiness and self-worth? Because being in a good mood and feeling satisfied with your life produces happiness.
And I think the self-worth thing, to me, purely from my own experience, I think goes right back into our childhood. I think it really does. And for the guys, because obviously you and I can only speak from obviously the aspect of being female, but obviously I think about sort of my dad. And so, of course, he had his job that he loved and he had to retire from it. He was not allowed to keep working at 65. He would have worked till the day he died because he loved his job so much. but he still stayed involved and wrote lots of letters to the local newspaper, you know, because he still watched things that were happening because he was a civil engineer. But I don't know whether it's still happening because obviously I've not had children, but especially to me with the boys and maybe with the girls now, because obviously women go out to work as well. And it's about what you do for a living and how much money you earn. And as you said, that is not your worth.
It's not your worth. I think a lot of women that I have worked with, they've wanted to be superwoman. They wanted to have it all. And then they found themselves burnt out, and it affects the adrenals. And then it's a long recuperation. And maybe we're living in a culture where women are feeling that it's not enough just to be a mother. It's not enough just to run the home. But that is a very valid full-time position, and it's very worthy, but it depends upon, again, attitude and beliefs. And as I say, a lot of it is our culture.
Oh, absolutely. As I was saying to you before, because I was one of these people I was a people pleaser. And so I was running a home. And as I said, gratefully, I didn't have children. So that they weren't children to be affected. I was running a home, doing a full-time job out on the road. So I was working longer hours than 9 to 5. I was actually studying for accountancy exams at the same time and trying to be a people pleaser. And what happened was I ended up with a broken jaw that gave me 6 months of pain and sleepless nights, and absolutely meant I could not do it all.
No.
The burnout. It was just like something had to give. Well, it wasn't just one thing that gave, it was 2 things that gave, which actually 3 things that gave. Probably the whole lot, actually. But yeah, you can't. We can do so much.
Yeah, I don't know whether you can see that, Sarah, and your viewers can see that.
Let's see if I can put this on full screen.
Okay, when I am working with a client, we look at the life wheel, and the life wheel has got 8 segments to it. And the key to life is balance. And if I'm working with a professional footballer, their career is a 10 out of a potential of 10. Fantastic. And financially, they're getting paid well. That's a 10 out of 10. But over here, relationship could be a 3 out of a 10. Now, if that really was a wheel, like a bicycle wheel, as it went round, can you imagine how bumpy it would be if we've got a 10 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10 and then a 3 out of 10? So the key to this is finding what is blocking the full potential, and it includes obviously self-worth, and as I said, self-confidence and self-love, and all what I call the selfies, not exactly taking a selfie photo, but working on the self, because that is key. You can see that I'm live because the phone is going. So I'm going to take the phone off as I'm live on television, and I'm just going to turn it off. Sorry about that.
It's all right. These things happen.
So with self-worth, you're more than your job title. It's important to follow your dreams. I think as a child, you know, when we're a child, we follow our dreams, don't we? Because we're encouraged to you know, so what do you want to be when you grow up? But when you're an adult, you kind of have other things come in the way, don't they? And they block their dreams. And then you follow the belief of, I am not enough. I am not clever enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not short enough. I'm not thin enough. And all of this is a lack of self-worth.
And I'm just sort of trying to think sort of back for myself. and that people pleasing thing, because it was just like, I really wished people to like me. Obviously, I would like they loved me, but liking me and sort of spending a little bit of time with me. But because of my own insecurities, I never expected that to last.
No.
So I'm one of these people who always wanted everything yesterday.
Yeah.
But it was that wake up call came, and then it was just like, why am I worrying about what other people are thinking about me? Because they aren't. Let's get this really, really clear. The majority of the time, other people are not thinking about us. They really aren't. They're possibly worrying about what you're thinking about them, but more to the point is they are thinking about what's going on in their own lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when you've got a high sense of self-worth, you don't care what other people are thinking. It's purely their opinion. You get it into perspective.
Yeah.
But when you've got low self-worth, it can be a huge thing that you're worried what other people think about you. But when you've got high self-worth, it's irrelevant.
But I also think, yes, it is totally irrelevant. But I think it is also coming to that real understanding that they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about what is going on in their own lives. So, yes, there may be the odd comment, but most of the time, you are not taking up their thoughts. Their life is taking up their thoughts. So take your thoughts back to yourself.
Yeah.
And your life and what feels good for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And and if you really want to give them something to think about and talk about, then go out and do the very first when I started to get the confidence to say, actually, I'm going to start living my life. And I decided to do an abseil off the local water tower in Poole. And I had a lot of people backing me with it. But my mother's reaction was, oh, no, you can't go doing things like that. It was, yes, I can. And I've wing walked, and I've done a mile-long zip wire, and I've flown a helicopter. And it's just like, I've taken back my life. And does it matter what anybody thinks about it? I've walked with the wolves. The things I've done, but I've done those in the last sort of 21, 22 years. I'm 62 years old. I spent 40 years worrying about what other people thought.
Wisdom comes with age, Sarah, and the confidence of what you've done is an inspiration to others. Age is just a number.
Yeah.
And I've met so many amazing people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even running the marathon and doing amazing things. I think age is irrelevant, and I think confidence does come over time. I think that, yes, some children are confident, but then you might label them precocious. So I think that with young children, there's, again, a fine balance. But as you get older, to have the confidence, it's a learning curve.
Yeah, but I also think with a lot of people, there is that wake-up call. And unfortunately, too many of us need that. And I did. It was just like, actually, do you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't do any of this anymore. I just can't cope with it.
No.
And then that light bulb moment of, oh, actually, and not being funny, because I'm not taking away from the self-worth here, but it's, who am I to think everybody else is thinking about me all the time? But that wasn't to take away from the self-worth. That was to actually help me to realize that, actually, do you know what? I can be me.
and Sarah, that is self-worth.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, I would say that self-worth is when you're comfortable in your own skin, and it's okay to be you. without, pointing out, oh, does my bottom look big in this? Or, take the photo from that angle because that angle is a bad side. And it's pointing out all the negative. But when you're okay in your own skin and you know your own self-worth, that changes everything.
And it is so empowering to let go of what other people think.
Oh, now, 1,000,000%. Because you're only responsible for your action, not for other people's reaction.
Yeah. And you are responsible for your actions.
Yes.
And obviously, if there is anything that I would never deliberately go out to hurt anybody.
No.
And I have got the confidence these days to say yes to what I feel right to say yes to and no to what I feel right to say no to. And I'm not saying no to hurt people. I'm saying no because it doesn't feel right for me. And actually, that can be a huge gift. A no, when it should be said, is more of a gift than a yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, Sarah, and I don't know if you feel like this, that if you say no to someone, you think they're going to love you less than they would do if you were going to say yes. When actually it's okay to say no and they love you still the same.
And if they don't, that's their problem, for want of a better word. It is their issue. And maybe for whatever reason, it is time for there to be a break in that relationship, that friendship, that whatever.
Yeah.
But when we're saying yes, when we mean no, either we then let them down because we don't honor that yes, or we're holding two people back. We're holding ourselves back because we've said yes to something we don't want to do. And we're holding that individual back because actually, if we'd been honest and said no, they would have found another way or found something even better.
Yeah, it's about being resourceful, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And this comes back to the selfish thing, which I don't really want to go massively into, but you turn around to somebody and say no, and they say, oh, you're being really selfish. Who's the selfish one? The selfish one is the person who says you are being selfish.
Yeah,
not honoring yourself.
It's a mirror image, isn't it? Reflected back to you.
Absolutely. But then that's down to their lack of self-worth.
Yes.
And the confidence in themselves that, okay, fine, that's not right for that individual. I'll honor and respect that. Now, how do I? And we take that back to ourselves.
Yes.
No can be a huge gift. If people wish to say no to me, that's fine. Say it. Please don't say yes when you mean no.
Yeah. And another thing, Sarah, with self-worth in our culture is comparison, comparing ourselves to people that I'm not enough because I'm not like that person or whatever. And I think that when we stop comparing, and as I say, be comfortable being ourselves, then our self-worth is moving on upwards.
Absolutely. When I learned Reiki, did my level 1 Reiki, Elaine sort of said, I can teach you, but I'm not going to teach you to be like me. The only person who can work with the Reiki the way I do is me. You will find your own way. It is not about you copying me. And I'm pretty certain with absolutely every one of her students, we are all unique.
Oh, yes.
And that's because we are all unique.
Yeah.
People listening to you and myself, and it's just like where we are. Okay, I did my level 1 Reiki back in 2002. My healing journey started before that, but obviously my journey into energy started at that point. Now in 2002, 18 years ago, I was right at the beginning and didn't even know what a chakra was. And there could be people that listen to this video and it's just like, oh, listen to where they are. Listen to what they've got. Great, they've gone through it. They understand. But where they are now, there is no comparison. The only comparison is to where I was 18 years ago to potentially where you are now. You may not take 18 years. This is why, Heather and people like myself share what we do with the hope that it won't take you 18, 20, 30 years to get where we are.
And I say the same thing, Sarah, to the meditation pupils that I work with. No one is any better or lesser than anyone else. Don't compare. One person will come out the meditation and say, oh my God, I've seen my guide. Another one will come out and say, I've seen a color. Another one will come out and say, I didn't really see very much. It's okay. You're all unique. You're all having your own unique experience. And it's a practice, the same as learning a language, learning a musical instrument. Meditation is your unique way forward to connecting within to that inner peace that's been hidden by lots of stuff on top of it.
And we are all different. When I sort of learnt Reiki, I don't feel anything. I don't see anything. Hi, Nikki. She says, love your meditation group.
Thank you.
I don't. I get a sense of knowing. I've never been someone who sees, hears. It's just, I'm not. And I totally accept that. And I work on absolute trust. I just trust that what I'm doing is the right thing. Suddenly something comes in, just trust that, go with it.
I'm the same. I know without knowing how I know. And that's just me. I'm not a medium. I'm not a clairvoyant. I'm an intuitive. And when I sat in the psychic development circle for many, many years, and I'm going back 25 years ago, they kept saying, go into trance. And I thought, no, this isn't for me. And when I discovered spiritual response therapy and clearing the Akashic records, whoa, the gong went off. It was that ringing of, this is me. This resonates with me. And then I've gone forward with it since then. And I've made it into my unique way of working with ancestral clearing and belief clearing and all the rest of the stuff that goes with it. But yeah, you find your way.
I would always say, find what feels right for you. Don't be told what is right for you. When I sort of met Elaine, because when I was looking for what I could do to help me, what could I do for me? I wasn't looking for other people to do anything for me. And I think that is a really brilliant place to start. And I'm not blowing my own horn, because when we're looking for what we can do for ourselves, we have that control.
That's right.
And and it was the first person you treat when you learn Reiki is yourself. Yes, that's for me. And so when I was introduced to Elaine, who was the Reiki master of the person I'd been speaking to, and sort of Elaine said, well, look, are you sure you want to come to me? And it was just like, yes. I didn't know why. And she was absolutely the perfect Reiki master for me. She absolutely was. And even then, I was in trust mode without knowing anything about anything. And it is amazing to do that. Just listen to yourself.
Yeah, which is a brilliant recommendation to anybody that's listening to this, because I think a lot of people give their power away and they ask other people, what shall I do? But the most important thing is to take 10 minutes and sit quietly, ask the question, and you will find the answer within. And that's the beauty of meditation as well.
Oh, and what works for everybody. Meditation. I started doing a whole series of workshops with a lady called Karen Tinker. She was Tinker at the time, Karen. Lords of Melchizedek workshops. Amazing, but they were energy workshops. And the day of going to the first one, I was thinking, Sarah, what the heck are you doing? You don't see things, you don't hear things. You know, sort of, what are you doing going to an energy workshop? Oh, best thing I could have ever done. I did the whole series of 10 or whatever it was, you know, sort of over a whole period of time. And the things that came up in meditations, as we got to the very ends of the last ones, it was just like, actually, she said, you lot all went to sleep. And it was just like, no, I was aware of every word you were saying, but I wasn't meant, whatever was going on at another level. It wasn't for my mind to know. And that's what I love about the soul language. I speak it. I have no idea what I'm saying. Nobody understands. Well, and I think there are a few people out there that understand it, but majority of people don't understand it. And that is what's brilliant. The mind cannot misinterpret it. It's happening at a soul and heart level.
It's not the logical mind, is it, Sarah?
Yeah. It's the heart and the soul. And Nikki's put, totally agree. See what our hearts resonate with rather than ego. Self-acceptance and self-love is key.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. I am going to share this quote, and I know I have shared it before, and I shared it with Heather earlier. Just because someone throws you into Lake Inferior doesn't mean you have to keep swimming in it. Get out. You're better than that. Bruce Van Horn.
Fabulous.
And it's what we're talking about here.
Absolutely fabulous. Who wants to keep swimming in Lake Inferior when we can get out on the beauty of the dry land and be in the beauty of the world and nature?
And more to the point is, come on, become aware of your wings and fly. You haven't got to swim unless you really like swimming with things like dolphins and do the meditation and do that. And you can breathe underwater. So you're flying underwater like penguins, you know. But it is about that being true to you. And when you love yourself and you're totally true to yourself, you are going to bring so much more, not only into your own life, but into everybody else's as well. But from a much, much more loving way.
Yeah, I always think of us like dominoes. Everybody that we touch is affected by the energy that we exude. And if we exude love, we think with love, we say things with love, we do things with love, then we have love.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We're not looking for happiness outside ourselves. We're not looking for love outside ourselves. It is all right inside of us. And when we are right there and trusting and believing in ourselves. And I remember a client one day, because I say to everybody, you are special. You are special in your own unique way. And no one is more or less special than anybody else. And a client said to me one day, oh, you are special. I said, I know, thank you. But it didn't come from conceit.
No, it's not ego, is it? We are all unique and we're all special.
Every single last one of us is special. And it doesn't matter what your role is in life, whether you're cleaning the streets or whether you're ruling a country, you're a surgeon or a whatever. It doesn't matter. Everybody's role is essential for the smooth running of our lives.
Absolutely. I think we could see that in the current world situation, that the people that haven't got, the directorship are the most important people right now that have kept us going.
Yeah. And every single, from the tiniest, might be take a mechanism, a clockwork mechanism, the tiniest little cog to the biggest cog. Every single one of them is essential.
Absolutely.
And a tiny cog can just as much muck up a mechanism as a big one.
It's true. It's true. That brings us to chakras. And when one is out of alignment, it affects all the other energy systems. So it's really important to get them aligned as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And folks, if you don't know what a chakra is, please feel free to contact myself or Heather. I am sure we will be happily. I've got it on sort of meditations and bits and pieces, so I will guide you.
Yeah, I've got a video explaining, so yeah. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do. Don't be as I was and be afraid to ask. Yeah. Please ask. It's so much easier. And have that confidence to ask. I think that's what there is, isn't there, a saying, to ask, you may feel a fool for 5 minutes, but at least you won't feel a fool for the rest of your life.
That's another good quote. You're coming out with them all today.
There are some fabulous quotes out there. There really are. I may not say them all perfectly, but I think people get the gist.
Yeah.
We've definitely coming to the end. So, Heather, is any final comment you'd like to make on this topic before we close?
Yeah, I think, thank you, Sarah, for that. A lot of people say to me, what is the difference between self-esteem and self-worth? So self-esteem is what we think, it's what we feel, it's what we believe about ourselves. And self-worth is recognizing I am greater than all of those things. It's a deep knowing that I am of value, that I am lovable, necessary to this life, and of incomprehensible worth.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And it's the power of I am, isn't it?
It is the power of I am, which is a whole other program.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Heather, thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure. Next week, I am being joined for another Thoughtful Nuggets and Pearls by Mahalia Michael. And we are going to be talking about trauma release with whale sounds. So I hope you will join us for that. In the meantime, thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Take care, be safe, stay well. Namaste to you all.
Namaste.
Thanks, Heather. See you soon.
See you soon.